In the Bootstrap template, the latest one, it shows a logo up here, and if we select it with our tools and bring it up in the HTML side, we can see here that it's an SVG file. So SVG stands for Scalable Vector Graphics. I prefer to do this as an image, but I'll go ahead and show you how to do an SVG as well. So I'm going to go over to Illustrator where I've started something here. So here is text as still editable text, and here's text where I've created outlines, right? So if you take text and go to type and create outlines, then it's all outlines. It's no longer text. You no longer have to have the typeface, and it is grouped by default, which is okay, but you can also ungroup it and pull out individual letters, and that's what I've done here. So this is an individual letter, and it's colored white on top of this black background shape. So one of the first rules of making a good SVG file is that it is all one object, it is all one color, and there are not, so part of the not having more than one object is that you need to do a pathfinder thing. You just can't have a white shape on top of a black shape. You need to actually select both of those, so make sure they're both selected, and use a pathfinder minus front to cut a hole into that shape. So now if I select this, let's ungroup it. No, I don't need to ungroup it. Last time I did this, it was, it treated it like two separate objects. Kind of surprised that it's not now. There we go. Yeah, when I hover over it, it's like there's two separate parts to it, but it's still showing as one. Okay, and then this is all separate parts. Let me go ahead and change the color here. So now it's a single color logo idea. And that's how I want it to appear in this color. If I take all of these parts now, these are all shapes, there's no lines, that's the other rule. So by that I mean, let's see if I can show that. So if I have just a path, right, and that path here, it's kind of doing the opposite of what you would normally do. So here's your path, and maybe it has a stroke like this. Okay, and maybe that's how you create your logo. This would not work as an SVG. You need to select the path just like how the type works, and go to Object, Path, Outline, Stroke. Now this would work. Okay, so this is legal as a shape, but not as a vector path type of thing. I mean, everything here is made out of vector paths, but not just a stroke, it's shapes. Okay, and then all the shapes that you have need to be united. So I do that again with the pathfinder, click to unite. So this is all one object. Okay, it's not something that I can ungroup. It's just one object. I don't think that works to ungroup it. I did. Don't ungroup it. Just keep it all as one object. Okay. And I'm going to get rid of this on the, well, let me leave that just so I can illustrate something else. If we go to our layers, and this little thing here, if we click that, it selects everything in the file. So if you have a situation like this where this is what you designed, and you hit this little button to select everything in the layer, and something else appears, you know that you have like hidden content. That's often the problem. Here it's obvious that there's extra, but if you have hidden content in that file that's not part of your one object, you need to delete it. So let's delete all of that. So now in this file I have just this, and it's all one object, all one color. So I should be able to save this I'm going to save it as a normal file first. Logo tall. And I'm going to save this to my work images folder. It's an Illustrator file. And I'm going to save it again, save as SVG. So I'm not going to mess with the compressed one, just the normal SVG. That'll give me the .svg ending. Don't worry about artboards. We might do that later with icon design. And save, and this should be the default. I don't need to preserve Illustrator thing. Type SVG. I think we're all good there, so hit OK. And SVGs are not always great. Let's see if this works, just to open it in the browser. Okay, there it is. So sometimes you'll see some weird distortions happen in it. This time it looks like I got pretty lucky. It is showing up as just what I expect. So that's good, and this is not, it's not a white end, that should be transparent, and that will help with our logo thing. Okay, let's go back to Illustrator, and I actually want another version of this logo to use. And I'll do that in another file. And on this one, let's try cheating a little bit here. And doing I got lucky there to find a linear version of the logo. Okay, so this should again still all be one object. I'll save this. It's logo long. And again, it's an SVG. Okay. And if I wanted to save these as images out of Illustrator, I believe we could just open up the Illustrator files. Let's try that. Nut logo tall. I'm going to open it from the AI file. And it's set here to go to bounding box. That's fine. Okay, so here it is. It shows that it's transparent. Just to exactly, this is a great way to save it. We'll open it, and I'm going to go to export, save for web. And we want to choose one that has transparency. We're just going to go to 2 up so we can see our options here. And on this option here, I'm going to either choose a GIF, which would give me really small, so 7.9. That gives me absolute transparency, not gradients, but since this is a flat thing, I could do that. Let's go back to 4 up so I can show the difference. Or we can do a PNG 8, which is like a GIF, but a new version, and it's even smaller. And the third one, I can do a PNG 24, which allows for multiple levels of transparency, but it's kind of wasted on this. We're not seeing a quality difference, but the file size is larger. So I'm going to go with the PNG 8. That's my best option. Right now it's really big, 256 by 599. I'm not going to use it that big. Let's go for half that. So the easy way to go for half is 50%. That's still a big size, and that won't hurt at all, so I think I'll try this. And tall PNG, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and save this to the images area, since that's where I would want it anyway. And I'm open up its long friend. Do the same thing to bounding box. And again, do a export. And I'm just going to try that same 50% here on this one. It's still selected on the PNG 8 that I have. That's good. And we'll save that as the long one in the same place. Okay, so now I have 4 versions of the logo, and I might actually do a 4th one. I don't know if I'll do that in this recording for the favicon thing. I don't think I need to. I think while I'm here, might as well save out the last one I was thinking of. So let's see, that would mean I'm working with just this. And it should snap to the pixels here. All right, I think that's right. And I don't think I have a, no, I don't. I have to do that through an online tool. And I'll just do a PNG 8 on this as well. Smaller again. Okay. I think we're done with Photoshop there. And done with Illustrator. And I need to make sure that our files are all in the right place. So I'm going to put those SVGs into my images folder. Okay. Might as well show you now. Let's see. Image creator. So there's lots of these. I can't remember which one I've used before or which one doesn't have really nasty ads. So an ICO, it's basically the little icon that appears in your tab. Let's just try this one, icoconvert.com. So we can do PNG, JPEG, or BMP. Maximum size 50 megabytes. We're nowhere near that. So let's choose file. And we just want the icon version. And upload it. Here it is. Crop it, no. Styles, no. We just want the ICO for Windows 7, Windows 8, Vista, and XP. Icon for your website, yeah, that's favicon, that's what we want. Convert and download. We're actually in this. Oh, no. Download it. Show it in our Finder. Okay, so it gives us the .ico file type. And let's put that in our images folder. Oh, that is so bad. But that's what it looks like. I mean, it all inflated, it looks like this, but its final size is that. And you can imagine that up as an icon. So mine, it's kind of goofy because it's if you draw a square around this, it's kind of short, so it doesn't maximize the space like a circle icon or a square icon does, but that's basically how that happens. Okay, so I have that ready for later if I want it. I don't know if I could get a bigger or better one or what's up with that. I'm not too concerned about it though. Okay, so ICOconvert.com, that works fine. So in our site here, where is it? Okay, so here's our icon there. So it's hardwired into our brand. So we just need to put in the new address there. So let's go to our BB edit, HTML, up at the top, and we are looking here. So we're going to go straight into our images folder. This is not the CSS file, so we don't have to back out of it with the 2 dots and the slash. And our file is called, no, what is it, nut, you have to have the name exact here. Nut dash logo dash tall dash dot svg. Okay, so let's save that and view it. Look how tiny it is. Crazy. Okay, so why is it so small? So if we look at it, it's showing up as 24.72 by 32. That is crazy small. That's like a 1/10 of its real size. So let's see why it's possibly doing that. Height 2 REMs. If we turn that off, look, it's even smaller. Why would it decide it needs to be so small? So it does it 20. Okay, so this is what it thinks it is. It's this whole thing. So it's taking my entire Illustrator page, the artboard size, as the size of that logo. I didn't think it would do that out of Illustrator, but I guess it did. So that's obviously not what we want. So we could go back and redo our artboard and resave it so it's tight around the SVG. That's one way to resolve that. Okay, so you can see it here. That's exactly that same shape. So let's just try to fix that. Okay, that should be snapping to exactly the right place. Okay. Not in work images. I'm going to save this directly to the images folder. It's going to say I'm replacing one that's already there. This happens a lot in web stuff. We'll say replace. Okay. Hide Illustrator. Refresh the page. And there it's more like what we thought, right? It's the right height. This is back to the 2 REMs, but it's a better size, okay? And if we do the same thing with the other file, bring its artboard close. I think I'm missing. There we go, it looks right. images. Yes, replace it, and hit OK. So a long logo, EV edit. Is going to fit better in that space as it is. So that's something to consider, is having a logo that is longer rather than taller is going to work as an SVG there. There are ways to make the taller one bigger. Excuse me. If we go back to it, okay, we would need to mess with the size of it here. So 20 rems would be giant. So 5, that's not bad at the 5 size. So one of the things that happens once you get this to be the size that you want, when we go down, the whole thing shrinks, right? And it shrunk because it's on a new, it actually becomes a new styling thing. And that's a little bit tricky when you have everything that's going on here. So it's, when we have the nav bar shrink, that's the way that we can actually change what logo is there. So here the nav class, it adds the shrink one. Because the image is hardwired in there, it's a little bit tricky to change it. If we put in the image as a background, when the class changes, we could change the image. So you can see how that navbar shrink thing went away here. But because it's, let's see if we can do that. So the normal height is 5, and in the shrink, it goes back to 1.5. That makes sense. So let's see if I can put that into the styles. Don't think I have any of those because it's the navbar brand. All right, let's put them both in. So the original one. So this is within the @media. So I'll leave that part and highlight the style. So find my @media section. Where is it hiding? Here it is. Oh, there's the navbar shrink. So let's put it after that. So here's the navbar brand, doing it at 5 rems in height. And let's capture the code for the shrunken version right here. Oh, where am I? And when it's shrunken, what do we don't know what we want, do we? .5. That sounds good. There we go. So that way, when we first open the page, if it's at the top, we get a larger version of the logo, first time seeing it. And as we scroll down, we get a shorter version of it. So this recording is a bit long, but this is the SVG way of doing it. And the image way is a little bit more flexible. This template, it's kind of nice to have a vector logo because of the clarity that you get. You can see that there's a little bit of a problem in that you're stuck with just one logo arrangement, where you could potentially have 2 different kinds of logos through the CSS if you do it a different way. So I'm going to stop this and we'll start another one using an image.